So, the E3 season has been and gone, and Kingdom Hearts 4 is still dry. Personally, I can't say I'm too surprised about this. As I was originally saying, I do feel as if it will be kind of later on in the year, more towards the end, looking at the Game Awards in December. There are also plenty of other opportunities as well. We've also got Gamescom happening in August. We've got the Tokyo Game Show in September. Another thing too is shadow dropping is becoming a little bit more commonplace. So, I mean, for all we know, the next Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer might just drop on a random fucking Wednesday afternoon. But as these things usually go, whenever there's an event, especially with the current time frame of development that Kingdom Hearts 4 is in, and especially because it's now beyond 3 years since the last trailer, every major gaming event that comes forward, there is obviously some level of hope and anticipation from the Kingdom Hearts community towards seeing Kingdom Hearts 4. And when it doesn't happen, there is a certain level of disappointment that hits. Now, obviously, there are some people that are quite literally bursting blood vessels over this. And aside from those folks, because I don't think it's really that serious, I can understand why it is frustrating and why it is disappointing. Because this is basically history repeating itself with Square Enix in the sense that they announced this game way too early. Now, the recent screenshots were great, and obviously, looking at the message that the Kingdom Hearts team left, a part of that post mentioning that we need a little bit more time, we appreciate your patience, we want to reveal the game when the time is right. I believe there was sort of tempering expectations for June. But I do feel like because we are seeing screenshots of the game, while I think that was partly to damage control the cancellation of Missing Link to sort of soften the blows that happened one day beforehand, I also feel like if we weren't seeing the game sometime this year, then we probably wouldn't be receiving those screenshots. Like I've been saying, I am confident that Kingdom Hearts 4 will pop up this year. Right now, it is the game that is basically at the forefront of Square Enix's major pipeline. This would be KH4 and DQ12. These theoretically should be the next two major games of Square Enix to release in the next coming years. Ever since the not E3 season has wrapped up, I've seen a lot of people saying like Kingdom Hearts 4 is ways off, it's nowhere near ready to be shown off, development is still ways off from being finalized, and there's nothing that really suggests this. If we are looking at the typical AAA development timeline, it's anywhere from 4 to 5 years. Right now, Kingdom Hearts 4 is about or around the 6th year of development. So by the beginning of next year, it'll be 6 years that Kingdom Hearts 4 has likely been in development for. So right now, we're looking at about 5. This game, at the very least, began very early development around the beginning of 2020, shortly after development of Remind had wrapped up. Now, I'm sure that Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be the biggest and most ambitious Kingdom Hearts title to date, but I don't think there is necessarily going to be anything within Kingdom Hearts 4 that necessarily warrants a development timeline of beyond that of 6 years. That's an insanely long development timeline for Kingdom Hearts. One thing I keep thinking back to is the comment that I got shortly before Summer Game Fest rolled around from my friend. He had heard from a source of his that basically Kingdom Hearts 4 shouldn't be too far off from hearing the next information dump and trailer number 2. I wanted to talk to my friend a little bit more about the source recently, basically just confirming, like, do you trust this person? Have they in the past told you things that have actually come true? Like, how well connected is this person? Because the claim that it shouldn't be too much longer before we get the next information scoop on the game is a pretty generalized claim. There was no specific event, date, month, anything like that given. I don't know who this person is, and again, I can't verify the credibility behind the claim itself, but my friend more or less said that, yeah, I'm very trusting of this guy. In the past, he has told me things about Reminds before official information came out, and same goes with Missing Link. I do trust the person who has told me this information, so I am willing to basically give them the benefit of the doubt. If I were to have to guess what they mean by it shouldn't be too much longer, I would have to say probably September Tokyo Game Show. What's for sure is we know that Square Enix always have a presence here. Just keep in mind though, take this information with the tiniest grain of salt. But I will say that if we do get to 2026 and there is nothing more said on Kingdom Hearts 4, then I think I will genuinely be concerned about the development timeline of this game, just because it really is taking so long. Because Kingdom Hearts 4 right now would have to be the longest development period of any Kingdom Hearts game that has ever taken place. So Kingdom Hearts 3, for example, while it was officially revealed in 2013, and by the point of that reveal, I believe that game had probably been in development for about a year on Luminos Engine, it was towards the end of 2013, beginning of 2014, that Square Enix started that game from complete scratch. This was because they wanted to shift from Luminos to Unreal Engine 4. Now we know that Kingdom Hearts 3 finalized development and went gold in December of 2018. This means it was almost close on about 5 years to develop Kingdom Hearts 3. So at this stage for Kingdom Hearts 4, we're looking at about probably 4.5 to somewhere close to that of 5.5 years of development time. And by the time Kingdom Hearts 4 releases, it will be the longest worked on Kingdom Hearts title. Now, we're not aware of any internal issues going on with Kingdom Hearts 4, but again, just thinking that if we haven't publicly seen or heard anything more about the game by 2026, then I am absolutely willing to believe that there is a problem. One thing I keep thinking back to is the comment that Tetsuya Nomura made back at one of the Kingdom Hearts concerts in 2023, publicly mentioning that something, and that something being not the greatest of news, was going on with the Kingdom Hearts franchise. This was apparently something that changed the course of direction for the franchise. Now, we still don't know what this is, what the context or the meaning is behind this comment. It's really surprising that the media or journalists haven't actually asked Nomura what he meant by this comment, especially to publicly bring it up, and with Yoko Shimomura not knowing anything about what he was talking about in this moment. But as far as we know, Kingdom Hearts 4 isn't facing the same issues that Kingdom Hearts 3 faced with a complete engine change. From what we know, parts of the game were initially developed on UE4, but partway through they have decided to upgrade to UE5. That process, though, is a lot more streamlined, compared to changing entire engine architectures. So there isn't any real reason why the development period of Kingdom Hearts 4 should take really any longer than 5.5 to 6 years, unless there are internal issues. So this is why I'm saying there isn't any reason why we shouldn't see Kingdom Hearts 4 this year. It is absolutely time. It's pretty crazy to think, but this is the quietest the Kingdom Hearts franchise has been in its 20 plus years running. It's almost surreal to think back to the first 10 years of the Kingdom Hearts franchise where we were receiving games so consistently. There was even 3 years there in a row where we got a Kingdom Hearts game every single year. 2010, BBS, 2011, Recoded, 2012, Dream Drop Distance, and I guess if you want to consider a remaster another Kingdom Hearts title, then 2013, Kingdom Hearts 1.5, and then 2014, 2.5, it goes on. However, if we're looking at the next coming 10 years beyond 2012, so 2013 to 2023, most of that decade was pretty much just comprised of making Kingdom Hearts more accessible via the compilation remasters, a slowdown on actual new content. So I do hope if we're looking at this next coming decade for the Kingdom Hearts series, which will eventually lead into Tetsuya Nomura's retirement. He had mentioned the possibility of maybe concluding the series, although what that means we don't exactly know. But I do hope 2025 through to 2035, Square Enix can start getting this consistency plan down with the Kingdom Hearts series. The nature of video game development, though, is very different nowadays compared to what it used to be in the early 2000s. Games take a lot longer to develop and are a lot more expensive. For one thing that Square Enix have said, that's a part of their new business plan that was put in place last year by the new leadership, is by 2027, once the current reboot phase of the company is over and they begin their reawakening phase, they have mentioned that they want to eventually arrive at consistency for their major IPs. This no doubt includes franchises like Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and hopefully Kingdom Hearts. One thing I have said recently is, like, although Square Enix are wanting to not outsource video game development as much, they really should consider having the developer's hand, the guys responsible for Days, Recoded, and Neo Twowie, on board and contracted to be a developer for smaller AA Kingdom Hearts titles. I think with the cancellation of Missing Link, that is basically like the death right there of Kingdom Hearts on the mobile platform. And hopefully this means a return to subtitled Kingdom Hearts entries on PC and consoles. I miss having these in-between side stories, and hopefully it's something we continue to see, but on a smaller scale, so that we can receive Kingdom Hearts games more regularly. Now, I think it's important to reiterate that while Square Enix are in this very quiet reboot phase, and the recent announcements further confirm that they are indeed in a quieter phase of their current business plan. I mean, right now, looking at 2025, it's a very quiet year for Square Enix. We've got Bravely Default that just recently released. They recently announced Final Fantasy Tactics, the remaster, which I know is very exciting for some people. And we've also got Dragon Quest 1 and 2 2D HD. But that's basically it for 2025. But just because it is this reboot phase, I have seen a lot of people being like, oh, okay, so like that ends in 2027. We've got nothing big coming out from here on forward until 2027. That isn't true. They have officially stated that in 2026, they do plan on bringing more games to more platforms along with the big releases. This is obviously going to be a very quiet year, at least looking in the HD games department for Square. The revenue in that department is going to be lower than usual. So they will need to kind of pick the pace up for 2026. This is why I'm saying that we should hear about Square Enix's future plans looking at 2026 sometime within the second half of 2025 to give not only their audience but also their investors sort of an idea as to what's happening for the future of the company. Just talking about Square Enix's future releases, one of the new games from Square that was recently revealed, as there were only 2 announcements recently, again, very quiet period for the company, but that was Killer In, the only game of Square's to show up at Summer Game Fest, the game that warranted Square Enix being on the partner list, that totally led everyone astray. Obviously, we're all sitting there thinking, alright, hopefully some big juice, Final Fantasy IX Remake, maybe Final Fantasy VII Part 3, although that's way too early. That'd be nice. A teaser. Kingdom Hearts 4? No, it was some multiplayer murder mystery online game. Think Killer In. Now look, these guys are not the developers of the game. They are simply just the publishers. But it's really interesting to see a modern Square Enix that are trying to be more particular, very much more selective on the games that they're putting their money into, reveal that they are publishing a game like this. This is the sort of game that Square Enix have been failing with for a long time now, like another repeat of Foam Stars. So you kind of have to imagine that the decision to pick up Killer In was actually made before the new plans that were put in place for Square Enix. I don't know, it's bizarre to see a game like this coming from Square after they've announced the new business plans. Because there are so many corners and communities of Square that have been waiting a long time to hear about their next big new Square Enix game. I'm also including Nier in on this because it's been such a long time since Automata. To see a game like Killer In getting revealed, yeah, it tilts a lot of corners of the Square Enix community. Look, it's not a major big deal or anything, it's just personally, I've got no interest in something like Killer In, and I'm not trying to ruin the excitement or hype for anyone that is interested in this game. I'm sure it's going to be a bunch of fun to play with some friends on a Friday night. But it is a very bizarre announcement from Square, just considering where the company currently is. And it's hard to see something like this coming from Square and think, yeah, this is gonna be successful. I mean, party games like this, like Repo or Lethal Company, are super successful nowadays, and maybe Square saw this and decided, okay, we want to sort of dip our toes in this genre of game. Let's give it a crack. However, the long wait does continue. I really do feel it in my delusional Kingdom Hearts filled brain that 2025 is going to be it. Yes, I am probably sucking on the end of the long copium stick, and that's okay, until it's determined that I am clinically insane. I really don't think, though, that Square Enix is going to want to wait any longer than 2025. Obviously, I want the game to come out when it's ready, but looking at a development period longer than 6 years starts to worry you a bit, starts to kind of ring alarm bells. So I do feel it. I do think that 2025 is going to be the year that we will finally learn more about the game. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Slippity slap that like button. It helps me out more than you know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A big thank you to my wonderful patrons. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and we'll talk again real soon.